Thanks to the witnesses for being here. Mr. Boland, let me start with you. Can you tell me, when were you at Facebook?
I was there 2009 through November 2020.
November 2020. Was it normal in the time that you were at Facebook for executives or team members at Facebook, not even have to be executives, to coordinate closely with the United States government?
I'm not aware of that.
You were never in any such meetings?
No,
You never had any contact with U.S. government employees in your time at Facebook?
not that I can recall.
Would you be surprised to know that on July 16th, 2021, an employee at Facebook wrote to the Department of Health and Human Services saying, "I know our teams met today to better understand the scope of what the White House expects from us on misinformation going forward." On July 23rd, 2021, Facebook employee thanked HHS for taking the time to meet earlier today. Wanted to make sure you saw the steps we just took this past week to adjust policies and what we are removing with respect to misinformation. That included, I'm quoting, increasing the strength of our demotions for COVID and vaccine-related content. On April 16th, 2021, Rob Flaherty at the White House circulated a Zoom meeting invitation stating White House staff will be briefed on vaccine misinfo. On April 7th, 2021, a Facebook employee thanked the CDC for responding to misinformation queries. We'll get moving now to be able to remove all but that one claim as soon as the announcement and authorization happens. On July 28th, 2022, that's this year, Facebook employee reached out to CDC about doing a monthly misinfo/debunking meeting. CDC responded, yes, we would love to do that. On May 11th, 2021, Facebook employees organized a Be on the Lookout meeting with CDC officials. On July 20th, 2021, Clark Humphrey at the White House emailed Dave Sumner and others at Facebook asking any way we can get this pulled down and cited an Instagram account. Within 46 seconds, Facebook replied, quote, "Yep, we are on it," end quote, and down the account went. Is that normal? Was that normal in your time at Facebook?
I don't have experience around that.
So you have no knowledge of anything like this? Nothing like this ever happened, and then presto, it started happening just suddenly in 2020 as soon as you left?
I didn't have personal experience of that, or I didn't hear.
And you don't know anything about it at all? You've never heard of anything like this happening ever?
I don't.
That's remarkable. I thought that you were the former vice president of partnerships, product marketing, partner engineering, marketing, strategic operations, and analytics at Facebook.
It's true.
And none of this ever happened. Why did it start happening, do you think, as soon as you left? What do you think drove this kind of collaboration where you have Facebook becoming an arm of the United States government, more specifically the White House, to censor private information, personal speech at the behest of government officials?
So it's hard for me to comment on the specific context of the content we're talking about, whether it was public content or whether it was personal content. I do know that from what I've read, and probably the same documents that you have access to, that there were a lot of steps taken around COVID response and COVID misinformation that may have presented a unique scenario and a unique situation where the company took steps to coordinate that way.
Took steps to coordinate, by which you mean to censor the speech of ordinary Americans at the behest of the President of the United States and his administration. I commend to everyone who's interested these emails, which were discovered as part of litigation led by the state of Missouri and other states as they're suing these tech companies, including your former employer, Mr. Boland, which for the record is one of the worst companies in America. And they've discovered this trove of information, extensive coordination, extensive. Teams met today in the Biden administration targeting the speech of ordinary Americans. And by the way, for standards that are ever shifting, ever shifting. You know, early on, if you questioned if the vaccine had anything to, if you questioned that the COVID had anything to do with a lab, you were marked as disinformation, you were censored, only to have the President of the United States later admit that the possibility that COVID has some lab nexus is in fact a very distinct possibility that our intelligence communities think is actually quite a viable theory. We've seen the same thing with people who have questions about masks, who have questions about vaccine efficacy. It's really quite remarkable.